This is the part where you run away!
Shrek Forever After is a strong contender for the most underrated movie I've ever watched. Reactions when it came out were fairly negative, but I'd argue the film has a really compelling final character arc for Shrek. Thankfully, there are a few people who have since talked about this movie and why Shrek's arc works so well.
Okay, fine, I'll review Shrek 4.
But there's one crucial moment that I never really hear anyone talk about. That being the scene where Shrek finally gets his old life back. Or rather, his old life as he remembers it. Let me set the stage. Months have gone by since Shrek's life took a pretty drastic turn. He's gone from the lone ogre relaxing in a swamp to Smash Mouth to a guy with celebrity status, a busy social life, a wife, and 3 kids. And as nice as that is, he can't help but miss the simple life he left behind. A fact that he's not exactly able to hide any longer. And in a moment of frustrated impulse, he makes a deal to have it all go away for a day with the help of the not at all shady Rumpelstiltskin.
Think about it, Shrek. To be feared and hated, it'll be just like the good old days.
Now everything is back to how it used to be. Shrek is on his own, has no responsibilities, and everyone hates him and wants him dead. You know, the fantasy that we all have every once in a while. And now that Shrek is once again, quote-unquote,
a real ogre?
He plays the part by going out to terrorize a local village. This scene is great for a number of reasons, the first of which being the deceptively happy tone. The most obvious point I can make is the juxtaposition of such a peaceful song like Top of the World by the Carpenters being played over such a chaotic scene. But the use of this song goes a few layers deeper than that. Okay, when I wrote that line, I swear to God I didn't intend for that to be a reference to the Onion scene, but there you go.
I don't care!
If you haven't seen Sideways' video talking about the music in Shrek, first of all, check it out. It's way better than the garbage you'll find on my channel. Anyway, Sideways pointed out that Shrek's use of pop music is done to convey the idea that the characters are conforming to what's popular or what's expected of them.
As great as it is to like these pieces of pop music, they're constructed to be the most popular, not necessarily the most specific. As much as these pieces might sound fantastic, the necessity to appeal to such a massive audience mirrors the needs for the characters in Shrek to navigate the external pressures and conform to societal expectations.
The use of Top of the World tells us that when Shrek is deliberately conforming to the expectations of what an ogre should be, he isn't just taking a day to decompress, he's actively regressing from the free-thinking person he chose to be all that time ago. It adds a sad bit of subtext to what on the surface is a pretty lighthearted scene. But then there's the big reason as to why this scene works. Before this scene, Shrek was complaining about how much better his old life supposedly was.
All I want is for things to go back to the way they used to be, when I could do what I wanted, when I wanted to do it.
Now he's finally got that, and he's free to act like a monster for people who see him as a monster. Just like how things used to be, right?
Back when the world made sense.
Well, not quite. While there are definitely some similarities to Shrek's past, the way he goes about it here is a bit different. In the original film, Shrek never actively went looking to scare anyone. Oh sure, he deliberately frightened people occasionally, but that was just to get rid of people that were coming to harm him. It was self-defense. Granted, he got some enjoyment out of it, but as the rest of the film shows us, he doesn't actually like being attacked or scaring people. We see that people intruding on his swamp bothers him.
What are you doing in my swamp?
We see him try to calm someone down when they run from him.
Look, I'm not gonna eat you. I just...
And we see that the hatred that people have for him upsets him more than he cares to admit.
People take one look at me and go, ah, help, run! A big, stupid, ugly ogre. They judge me before they even know me.
It recontextualizes the fun he seems to have scaring people as him just making the best of a bad situation.
And stand!
In Shrek Forever After though, Shrek isn't being targeted by anyone like in the first movie, at least as far as he knows. He's just going around scaring people completely unprovoked and attracting a mob the size of a village as opposed to just a few guys like before. What all this suggests is that when Shrek says he wants things to go back to the way they were, it's possible nostalgia was clouding his judgment. In reality, he didn't really want his old life back like he thought he did. He was just overwhelmed by how much things have changed and how eventful his life life has become that he convinced himself that the alternative was better than it actually was.
If your life was so perfect, then why'd you sign it all the way to Rumpelstiltskin in the first place?
Because I didn't know what I had until it was gone.
I love this scene. It does wonders for building up Shrek's character flaw that he needs to overcome, and throughout the rest of the film we see this supposedly perfect life of his get challenged. The entire world is now against him, his life is in danger, his friends don't trust him, his kids were never born, and his own wife doesn't know him and doesn't care. That's some good emotional weight for Shrek to learn his lesson, and it results in some of the most powerful moments in the entire franchise. But none of that would have hit as hard without a good setup to earn it. In a way, it's a good example as to why this movie as a whole is so damn good and why it works so well as a final installment. It brings back concepts from the previous films, takes them in directions we've never seen before, and ultimately ties it together in a way that demonstrates why those elements worked in the first place. If you enjoyed this video, then click the link in the description below to support my Patreon for previews and bonus content. Thanks for watching.